Red corner, wearing blue trunks. His official weight 106.5 kilograms. His record 42 fights, 35 wins and 7 defeats, including 28 KO victories. He comes to us from San Miguel, Tucumán, Argentina. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, here is Manuel, el bombardero del Mercofront, Pucheta. Seuraavaksi hänen vastustajansa sinisessä kulmassa. Hänellä on yllä musta-valkoiset housut. Eilisessä punnituksessa hän painoi 103,7 kiloa. Hän tulee Tampereelta ja hänellä on takana 11 voittoa, ei tappioita. Voitosta 4 tyrmäyksellä. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the fighter in the blue corner, wearing black trunks with white trim, weighing at 103.7 kilograms. His record stands at 12 fights with 11 wins and 1 no contest, including 4 KOs. Hailing from Tampere, Finland, introducing Jarno.
8-round fight, follow the rules all the time. Good luck, go back to corner.
Big difference between them physically, Duke. Pucheta, very much the smaller man, doesn't look in great shape either.
It's huge. This guy's an absolute giant, 6'5". Southpaw. What a nightmare.
Well, let's see how well he shapes up. Former Finnish junior champion. Won the international Tama tournament some years back and beat Scotland's Steve Simmons in the final. He won't thank me for mentioning that one, but I'm sure he remembers.
Well, that's something you're not really going to forget. Now this guy's very well scored, as you'll see. It's 6'5". He doesn't have to get involved with the shorter guy. The shorter man has to swing punches over the top. Pucheta,
with 28 wins in his 35 victories, albeit not at the highest level for the most part, but those statistics, they always command respect because it shows that he can bang a little. Not happy about what I suspect must have been a clash of heads there.
I didn't quite see what the infringement was, John, but Rosberg, he can just do pretty much what he likes because obviously, you know, Pucheta's not being busy enough. You know, when you've got a much taller opponent, you've got to set a hard pace. If you stand off him, you get jabbed to death.
Moaning to the referee again, this time suggesting that he had a punch around the back of the head. I don't like to see that from fighters, particularly at an early stage like that. It almost looks as though he's looking for excuses already.
Yeah. But, you know, he's got to just set a really high work rate. If he stands off, he's asking for trouble.
Biggest boxing event that Finland has ever had, this one, in terms of the crowd that's been attracted here to this Hartwall Arena. Pretty much up towards its 12,000 capacity now. Still a few seats to be filled, but the atmosphere is building for the big ones to come. As though he's got too much reach and too much speed for Pucheta.
Yeah, he's nice and patient, Rosberg. He's not trying to rush anything. You know, you get an occasional jab from him, but you know where the power is in that backhand in his right hand. That's right, left hand.
Closing seconds of the opening round, an 8-rounder. Rosberg landing more scoring shots for me in this opening 3 minutes, Duke.
Yeah, quite easily.
Back to his trainer, Henry Force. He'll be fairly happy at the way things have unfolded in that opening round. He's been able to control for the most part at range. That was only a glancing blow, that counter. As the little moan to the referee. I'm not really sure what it was about. And there was another one later on for a shot which he claimed was around the back of the head. The truth of the matter is that he doesn't like too many punches landing on his rather ample form.
Käytä etukättä vähän enemmän, huolellinen. Se tulee sieltä kyllä vielä, se pitää olla hereillä. Eli malttia vaan nyt sillä ja etukädellä töitä. Se tulee kyllä, ei tarvi ihan näin.
Seconds out. Toinen erä, round 2.
So the second round, the undefeated Finn, 6'5" Jarno Rosberg against the veteran Argentinian Manuel Pucheta. Comfortable opening round for Rosberg.
I wonder if Rosberg is a converted southpaw. I mean, you know, he doesn't look that naturally like a natural southpaw to me. But you know, if Pucheta can get close enough, which I sincerely doubt, but if he can get close enough and just get past them long arms, he might give us one or two answers to some of the questions we're asking, you know, whether the other guy can actually take a shot or not.
You think he might be a manufactured southpaw rather than one by virtue of the fact that he is genuinely
right-handed.
Well, your power punch would be the left hand, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If you were fighting as a southpaw.
Yeah.
Great Cuban thing, isn't it? In Cuban amateur boxing, send remarkable proportion of their young fighters out as southpaws and always have done over the years.
Sure. But you also find that from Scotland also, John. A lot of boxers from Scotland are southpaws. Strange statistic. But Pucheta can't, you know, he's not getting past the jab, he's not moving the head, not even attempting to flick a jab. He's just waiting and waiting, and all the time he waits, he gets picked off. I mean, if he's going to pull with his jab, he's got to use it as a much better rangefinder, because he's not even doing that.
Yeah, to be fair, I think the pro-Finnish crowd would perhaps like to see one or two more fireworks from Rosberg as well, who's taking a fairly pedestrian approach to this. No great sense of urgency in his work either.
Well, you know, Rosberg, though, at least he's making the fight. You know, he's taking a step forward, and you're getting an occasional jab from him, and an occasional 1-2. There's his 1-2. Where Pucheta, all he does is backs off and just looks and admires.
Well, he's just content to just wait and see if he can get lucky with some big right-hand swing, isn't he? I don't think there's a great deal more educated approach to it than that right now. Nothing coming back from the Argentinian, which is from him. Well, there he did try a couple of speculative swings, but that was a pretty poor effort from those 3 minutes.
Well, he can't be tired, John, because he hasn't thrown a punch. And it's not that much effort walking around the ring.
No great coordination or athleticism. There was a right hand from Pucheta, but it was off the target. But I'm not particularly impressed by this guy either at the moment, truth be told. You'd like to see a bit more snap in his work, just step in and take it to Pucheta.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, he's got every physical advantage you can possibly have. So, you know, it's time to throw caution to the wind and open up on this guy a little bit.
Third round of this 8-rounder, which is an aperitif for the WBA title fight between Alexander Povetkin and Cedric Boswell coming up, and that's European title fight, Robert Helenius and Derek Chisora still to come. Rosberg, the taller man, in the black and white shorts. The first 2 rounds he's taken comfortably, hasn't he?
Yeah, I've given him both the 2 opening rounds. I'd like to see him doubling up on his jab, just put the straight left behind it. There's nothing coming back, so, you know, start to open up a little bit more. I'm sure he doesn't lack in confidence.
It's about the sum total of Pucheta's strategy, isn't it? That big right hand, trying to get lucky. Sort of shot which gave Tyson Fury a few anxious moments a week or 2 back.
Again, we're just getting single shots from Rosberg. You know, while his opponent's got his hands dropped, pop the double jabs through. You know, he can afford to hold the centre of the ring and really dominate from there.
That didn't miss by an awful lot. That swing from Pucheta just whistled past the nose of Rosberg. Well, I don't think the crowd are a great deal more thrilled with this one than we are, trying to entertain themselves with a bit of rhythmic clapping. But, well, Pucheta looks a bit of a sorry excuse for an athlete, and Rosberg, for all his physical attributes, is not really dominating as one would have anticipated.
He's not really doing a lot, John. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're so right. I do expect a lot more. You would expect to see a big man of his stature absolutely dominating this fight and just taking control. But he's watching and he's waiting. An occasional jab, an occasional 1-2.
There's a body shot, followed by just the wild swing of an attempted counter from Pucheta, who I don't think's landed a punch in this round. Not that I can remember. Or certainly nothing of any note. Well, that was a fairly dismal 3 minutes. I think it's fair to say he's had better days in years gone by. Rosberg at the age of 30, and he's still trying to move forward in the game. Might have been Pucheta's best moment of the round, and even then I don't think he landed, did he?
It wasn't clean. It was not clean, just a glancing blow. I mean, you know, if I was Pucheta, I'd be feeling very quietly confident. You know, I'd be saying, well, I haven't been hurt. You know, I've got a big guy in front of me.
Confident or optimistic? I think you've got to be optimistic that you can land a punch somewhere, which is hardly what's happened so far.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he hasn't been hurt in the fight, and you know, he could afford to take 1 or 2 chances.
Well, perhaps I'm writing him off too soon. Maybe he'll be able to produce something. Oh, safety first stuff from Rosberg, just keeping it at length, not really getting into range himself where he can land combinations, content just to try and work away behind that long lead.
There's no urgency behind his work, Rosberg.
Remember Pucheta was beaten in a couple of rounds by Albert Sosnovsky, who's not a noted puncher himself, so that gives you an idea of where he is, and that was, what, 4, nearly 5 years ago. So Rosberg, well, he's winning the fight, but he's not making a particularly good fist of it, is he?
No. I mean, I know Pucheta isn't in the greatest condition, However, yeah. However, he can work harder than what he's working. An occasional lunge isn't going to win him anything. Now the slow hand claps are starting now.
Again, I'm not really surprised either. These are the punters who've paid good money. Thankfully, 2 fights yet to come, which are going to be more entertaining than this, and much of what's gone before has also been better.
Yeah, it's a very poor attempt by Pucheta.
He's fat out of shape and doesn't look really now as though he's much of a fighter. But Rosberg, on the other hand, the undefeated prospect, he's not doing a deal.
No. No. Right now they're as bad as one another.
There'll be a lot of people who'll be watching this one around the world, and a fair few heavyweights around the UK thinking, hey, I could take either of these two.
Well, you know, unfortunately for Rosberg, he's fighting like he's a little bit gun-shy. He's fighting like he just doesn't want to pull the trigger with any of his hands. Why, I don't know, because
real stinker of the fight.
That's an understatement, John.
The boos now are starting to reverberate around the auditorium. It's not got a great history of boxing up here in Finland, but they expect a great deal more than this. Rosberg has won all the rounds for what it's worth, but not a great deal. Please, let's have a bit more action in the 4 rounds to come. A few referees will be stepping in there and saying, come on boys, let's have a fight.
Yeah, they certainly would. They'll be reading the right act to these guys and telling them to basically just get on with it.
Heität vaan sen takimaisen vastaan, ylös tai alas. Paikkoja tulee nyt, se alkaa väsyä ja se tulee sieltä. Nyt tulee paikkoja, nyt vaan hereillä silmä.
See swings from Pucheta which are off the mark, but there's nothing very clean at all landing from Rosberg. It's a fairly poor performance. Can't even blame a clash of styles, can you? Because Pucheta's just standing there.
No, absolutely not. Well, I guess they've been matching him very, very cleverly, very carefully. You know, Rosberg, if that's his unbeaten record and this is the level of opposition that he's been facing, then you can see why he's undefeated.
The crowd, to state the very, very obvious, want to see a lot more.
I think we want to see more, John, don't we?
We hope the evening go by if we could see 1 or 2 punches, wouldn't it? Rosberg just pawing with that jab. He doesn't snap it, does he?
No, he doesn't. And also, you know, what he does quite badly is paws with the jab and leans out with his chin sticking right up in the air.
I mean, think of a few who'd have fancied that as a target.
Oh, wouldn't Lennox Lewis just have loved this guy?
Lennox Lewis would have had him out of there inside 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Really make you wonder about the 35 people Manuel Pucheta has beaten.
Doesn't it just, John?
Including one, I might tell you. He beat a novice 2 weeks ago, had a first-round knockout against him. I can only assume that the guy was inexperienced and stupid enough just to stand there in range and let one of those wild swings detonate on his chin.
It doesn't really bode too well, does it, for the opposition?
Again, there's a few hoots of derision around the big arena.
Well, I mean, big men aren't really noted for having high work rates, but this takes it to a whole different meaning, doesn't it, really?
They're not noted for high work rates, but the appeal of the heavyweights is always that this hit so hard.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got a guy here who hasn't really landed a punch, and against a man who doesn't appear to want to throw a big punch.
He's had the big build-up, hasn't he? You know, the unbeaten record, the 6'5" frame, everything is in his favour, but just not getting on with the job in hand.
And slow hand claps again around the Heart Wall auditorium here. This has been another dismal round. You just hope against hope that something is going to start happening at some point in this fight, but it just doesn't look like it is going to. Well, that's the left hand which lands. It landed, but unfortunately a second and a half after the bell went.
I think he knew that, John.
Todo para vos. Los puteos son para él. Dale. No me equivoco, me gasto bien. No, bueno, no importa. Cagate. Cagate y ya termina.
Well, that was he was missing by a mile with those punches, Pucheta. That's the one which was after the bell. His best punch of the fight so far, unfortunately not scoring.
Wouldn't it have been ironic if he'd have caught him with the shot after the bell knocked him cold?
Robert Helenius was the man in the dressing room, getting ready for his big fight against Derek Chisora.
Avustajat käästää seconds out, 6. erä, round 6.
Avustaja tulos. Fuera. Vamos.
The 6th round. Seem to have been watching this forever.
Well, you know, I mean, we can't really dress this one up, John, can we?
No, there's absolutely no way you can make something into something that it's not. It's not what we're about on this channel. Call it as it is, and this is a stinker. Was that a body shot? I think it might have been the inside of the glove, though, in which case it wouldn't have counted. I think that right hand did get through, but I don't think it was hit with the correct part of the glove, was it? Perhaps I'm being picky. Be thankful for small mercies. Oh, that got through. He's got one. He's got a little smile on his face as well. We've only been looking for it for 5.5 rounds. We're now here in the 6th.
Well, if there's no more punches thrown for the rest of this round, that means he wins it, right?
Well, one way of looking at it.
He's tried it again. So now he's getting a bit adventurous. That's good.
They always reckon that Willie Pep won a round without actually landing a punch on one occasion, but I think it'd be an interesting comparison to put Manuel Pucheta and Willie Pep in the same sentence.
Yeah, you can't really, can you?
That's equalled it up. That's the left hand from Rosberg which got through.
Just a good, stiff, solid jab. But, you know, if he just threw one or two good, you know, solid jabs just to get himself into range, then I'm sure this fight will take a completely different shape.
Rosberg has to be outreaching him by what, 4, 5, 6 inches easily. And he's just not working it.
No, he's just not getting in range for his straight left at all. You know, he's fighting like a guy that's just been knocked out in his last fight, and this is like his comeback fight. So the nerves are shattered, and he doesn't really know what to do.
And he's not prepared to take the risk of getting into range to land.
Doesn't want to get in range, John. Doesn't want to get involved whatsoever. It's a very strange, lackluster performance by Rosberg.
Well, if he was top of the bill, I don't think you'd have 12,000 people in here. Might not have 12.
That'd be a hard sell.
That's a nice shot. That time, good left hand. Well picked, well measured punch from Rosberg. We've had to absorb an awful lot before we've finally seen it. 2 rounds still to go. There's that right hand, which was sort of a glancing blow, wasn't it? Body shot by way of response. And there was the big headshot in the closing stages. I think he enjoyed the moment. Hallelujah, I'm a boxer.
Yeah. It was more like hallelujah, I've landed a punch. First one in the whole fight.
Round 7.
2 rounds still to go.
Well, obviously, you know, Pucheta, I've got him losing every round. You know, there's been little action, but what action we have had has come from Rosberg. So, you know, he can't be tired because he's done no work whatsoever. You know, go out on your shield. Try and kid a little bit, which he's trying to do now, but you've got to let the hands go if you're going to kid.
Well, I saw Derek Chisora in a warm-up fight a week or 2 ago, didn't we? And a few people afterwards said, well, what was all that about? That wasn't a real fight. Looked like Hagler Hearns compared with this. A big swing again from Pucheta. It's the only way that he's going to have a prayer of winning this fight. Rosberg knows it and is content just to keep him 4 or 5 feet back.
I think Rosberg is on a different plane right now in his mind. He just hasn't showed up whatsoever.
It's an absolute no-risk policy, isn't it?
Yes.
Pretty much a no-entertainment policy as well. Pucheta just plodding around, pretty careworn and tired from the first minute or so. Didn't have to absorb a right hand there as he was caught while he was off balance, trying to throw one of those wild right hands. Better. Rosberg stepping in behind the shot there.
Yeah, just again, that's the same combination, isn't it? You know, it's a feeble jab, then it's just a little 1-2. Not seeing, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, or a double jab and a cross, or just something different, more variety. Hasn't tried an uppercut at all. Hasn't even tried to manhandle his smaller opponent. Take him out of his stride. He's done absolutely nothing.
When you think of the years, the time that you must have spent in a ring honing your skills, which took you to the top, when you watch this, it must make you despair.
It does, the fact that I wasn't a heavyweight, John, if that's what you mean. I know what you mean. Sure. Yeah, sure. That you work on and that you put your time in to try and perfect. From a technical point of view, this has been pretty much a non-entity. There's absolutely no variety, no combinations, no nothing.
Boos as well from the crowd, those who can be bothered to make any sort of noise at all. It's pretty quiet around the hardball arena.
Käytä sitä etumaista. Aina kun käytät etumaista, niin paikkoja
Rosberg,
tulee.
a man who would appear to have the physical attributes, not really using the tools to very good effect.
There's nothing, you know, there's been nothing to get excited about, I should say, sorry, in this fight whatsoever.
Round 8, the final round.
Let's hope one of these two can at last become exciting in this last round. Contest which, for most of the people watching, I suspect cannot end too soon. The claps go up again. It's the sort of occasion where people watching who like to post on the internet forums might like to think about the worst fights that they've seen over the years, and this is probably a contender to be on the list.
Yeah, I'd have to be in agreement with that. It's, well, like I said, we're in the final round now, so maybe we'll get a little bit of action from at least one of them. That best punch of the whole fight.
That was a good shot.
That's the best punch of the whole fight. At least he landed cleanly with it, and it had the desired effect in as much as it jerked the opponent's head back.
Pucheta took it. Maybe that'll dissuade him from launching those big swings that he's been doing. Perhaps he'll go into cover-up mode now in the remaining seconds of the fight.
Rosberg just trying to open up just a little bit now. Trying to be a little bit more adventurous. Just, you know, instead of throwing the 1-2, he should maybe try a double jab and an uppercut. Haven't seen one in this whole fight. Back to the drawing board after this fight, no doubt.
Pucheta, at the age of 40, presumably at the fag end of his career. It's been a pretty dreadful performance from him.
You just kind of wonder, John, you know, you made a point earlier on about sort of being in the gym and working on technique and tactics and one thing and another. So, you know, you've got to kind of say to yourself, what sort of tactics had Rosberg been working on in the gym? You know, for this particular opponent.
Well, for round after round, it was just safety first. He's now looking to step in and throw that left hand with a little bit more authority, but it's taken an awful long time for it to come.
He's left it to the last 30 seconds of the last round. I mean, oh, okay, a win's a win, but, you know, as you said before, this isn't very... It's not very pleasing on the eye.
Well, come on, I mean, let's be honest about it. It's the entertainment business. And despite the fact that he's got the undefeated record, the home man, Jarno Rosberg, hasn't delivered.
No. No, hasn't showed up whatsoever.
Last few seconds. Pucheta goes through and gets to the final bell. Rosberg gets the win that he presumably wanted. And there's a fair few boos around the arena. And I have to say that were I a paying customer, I'd be joining in.
Yeah, I'd be hugely disappointed.
Rosberg waves to the crowd to try and get some acclaim, and the response is pretty much on the mute button. I suppose the W in the win column is important.
Well, it's the only thing, isn't it? I mean,
it's the only thing you can take from this.
Yeah. You can't even really call this a learning fight, you know, because he would have seen more action in the gym. Probably, obviously, he would have had harder sparring sessions. I wish I spoke his language.
Not sure what that's all about.
Ottelun edetessä näytti siltä, että tuli Rosbergin otteisiin hiukan rentoutta. Täytyy kysyä
in a moment we will get a confirmation of the result. 8 rounds of what was a very, very dull fight. It will get better, I promise you. Alexander Povetkin and Cedric Boswell, followed by Robert Helenius and Derek Chisora. That will surely be a very, very much more rewarding spectacle than what we've just had to endure there.
Nyt siellä on vielä hetki aikaa. Seuraavaksi kiehän nousevatkin sitten MM-miehet. Niitä voidaan odottaa.
Master of Ceremonies will be confirming the result in a moment. I'm kind of assuming that Rosberg's won this one on points. I can't think that Pucheta won even a 10-second stage of any round of the 8 rounds that we saw, never mind a round in its entirety.
I do believe he just took a swing at he's training there. That's more action in that little excerpt than we saw in the whole of the fight.
Yeah, it didn't hurt him though, did he?
No. I was pretending like he's hurt his hand. Okay.
Well, here we go from some of the action such as it was in that last round. There's the left hand which you were applauding.
That was the only one that landed throughout the whole of the fight cleanly. Once or twice an occasional jab got through, but nothing of any real note.
Sporting round of applause for Rosberg. And Pucheta goes on his own little
Hyvät
lap
naiset
of
herrat,
honour. Here's the result.
vauhdikkaan kamppailun jälkeen ottelu voittaa ratkaistaan pistein. Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of boxing action, we go to the scorecards. The scores are as follows. Tuomarin pisteet ovat seuraavanlaiset. Jere Kanninen, 80-73, 80-73. Esa Lehtosaari, 80-73, 80-73. Anssi Peräjoki, 78-74, 78-74. All in favor of the winner by unanimous decision, hyvät naiset herrat, Jarno.
Well, a couple of the judges there managing to find one round level, and the third judge, 78-74, goodness knows what he was watching, but he's managed to actually give something to Pucheta that it's another victory for Jarno Rosberg.